So for practice today, I don't really have any specific prop usage plan, but if you have any difficulty or any discomfort at all grabbing your foot behind you, then grab a strap or a long sock or a scarf, a tie, whatever sort of flexible thing that you could use to aid yourself in that, because the year is 2021 and we're in a snowstorm and things are crazy enough as it is. So I'm also sitting up on a cushion. I invite you to do whatever you need to do to come into a seat that is comfortable in your body. And we'll begin with a little intention setting before practice. This morning I picked up a book by Pema Chodron, and it's called When Things Fall Apart. And my teacher's joke is like, that's the book that you read at a coffee shop, like back when people would go up to you at a coffee shop, but like that's the book you read when you want everybody to leave you alone, when things fall apart. I just picked it up and I said, I don't know, I'll open it up and see if I come across anything that's relevant to me. And it was so funny. Like one of the first things that I read was where she said, you know, some of us go through life and we have even the simplest of feelings and we still react to it with panic. I was like, shoot, that's totally me. I'm totally that person. I react to all of the feelings with panic, especially when they're like the feels kind of things. I react to that with so much panic. And she goes on and she's talking about Buddha. The Buddha, when he was sitting underneath the Bodhi tree and he was experiencing this first enlightenment, or really the enlightenment that he goes through. And it is said that there are all of these demons and enemies that come out, and they're trying to like stop him from enlightenment. And there's all these arrows that are coming out at him. And he has achieved such a level that is beyond any of the worry and anxiety and difficulties that most of us experience, that all of these arrows that are coming out at him just become flowers, just fall as like roses at his feet, because of that perspective, that acknowledgement that we don't need to be taken down, torn down, and destroyed by what comes out at us from the world. Pema was talking about how we have these experiences that completely destroy us and tear us apart. Like we had this experience 11 months ago when we began this kind of lifestyle where everything that we thought was how the world should be is no longer the case. And we get into this place where we are changed by good and bad things that tear our world apart. And truly, these are an opportunity. These tearing down are an opportunity not to challenge ourselves to rebuild what we're familiar with, but to find something that is new, that is unique, and that is true growth and connection. Not to take the arrows and try to use them to build a new house with, but to see them as flowers in this opportunity for growth and change. So there's my abstract wildness. We're gonna go at practice today, doing a lot of foundation work to start off with, and I want this to be a practice of moving into the foundation and into the hips, not so that we get burdened and inwards, but so that we are then more open and able to expand outwards. So we'll move it into a heart-opening practice after that. Face brushing to begin, index finger and thumb together. So you bring the squishy spot at the base of your thumb into the center of your forehead and move outwards towards the temples a few times. And then from the sides of your nose out to your temples, along your cheekbones. And from the temples down to your chin, along your jawline. And from the sides of the nose down to the chin, along your laugh lines. And taking your fingertips underneath and behind your ears, you're feeling for the soft spot that's back there, and then the bony spot that's right up above the soft spot. Go ahead and give that a little massage. Lifting up on your head right from that point. And you'll stay lifted right from that point, right up behind your ears as you rest your hands down into your lap and just take a few breaths, tuning into your body. You have this practice of yoga, which is a practice of connection. It is a practice of being in tune with what is. Allowing ourselves to be in these moments, be in the discomfort and the beauty, both of it, all of the things. To be able to let everything fall as flowers at our feet, to simply be here now. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. And let loose 3 ohms. Big breath in. We're going to come down onto our backs to start off with our physical practice today. So go ahead and take anything that's on the mat. Just go ahead and move it off to your sides. You're going to come down onto your back, squeeze your knees into your chest, and give yourself a little rock around. Really? Okay, thank you. And then you're going to take your left foot, go ahead and put it down and take your right ankle onto your left knee. And you want to reach your right arm in between your legs here. Hold on to your left thigh. Flex your left foot. So if you have any difficulty with this, you could always grab that strap and loop it in between your legs, or just leave the left foot on the floor. But if you're able to grab the back of your left thigh, I would like you to flex your left foot and press that left foot forward, which is going to create even deeper feels in this hip. And you can think of like the Buddha, if it starts to feel like arrows and daggers being tossed at you, can you breathe softly into it and let it simply be flowers? We're having words, Jezebel. And then try to relax the fronts of your shoulders so that a little bit more of your torso is relaxing into the earth, even as you have this active opening of your right hip. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, find something to soften. Do that 2 more times. Inhaling and then softening as you exhale. If you're going to take your left foot, go ahead and put it down. You're going to slide the right leg all the way over so your thighs are crossed. And then bring your legs over towards the left side. So you're going to get a little more stretch on the outside of the right hip. I like to put my left hand at the right hip, kind of push the right hip a little bit further away from your body. And then you might try to hold the chihuahua back, or you can open your right arm out to the right side. If you open your right arm out to the right side, try to relax that right shoulder down and maybe twist a little bit more over towards the left with those legs, or maybe not. Find something to soften every time you breathe out. Take one more round of breath. And then you're gonna come back to the center. Go ahead and unwind your right leg. You'll take the left ankle and bring it up on top of that knee. The left arm weaves in between the legs. You hold on to the right leg. And then we're gonna press our flexed foot forward. So there's an action of moving forward through that leg, which will take the hips down, maybe. Try to relax your collarbones open. One of my favorite Rumi quotes and poems, a part of it is, "Be crumbled so that wildflowers may grow up where you are." And so we're gonna do some crumbling of our hips so that perhaps we can grow open through the heart from that space. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. And then release the right foot down. You're gonna slide the left leg on top and then drop those legs over towards the right side. You see, I kind of catch my foot here. It gives me a little bit more support. Right hand at the left hip if you want to push that hip down a little bit, or you feel the thigh bone pushing down, and then the left arm opens out to the left side. Already big things happening in the hips. Maybe you're able to drop those knees over more with time. Try to soften the inside of this left shoulder as well. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more round of breath. Oh my goodness. And then you're gonna unwind your legs and come back to the center. We're gonna take Happy Baby, which is fairly early in a practice to take Happy Baby. Oftentimes we do this at the end. So you might need some extra wiggling out and some extra softness in your intention here. And maybe this is the time where you do grab the backs of the legs instead of trying to hold on to your feet. And then you're going to keep holding on to the right leg. You might move to holding on to the shin instead of the foot, because you're going to set the left foot down. And then you're going to take your left hand and you want to try to wiggle your toes out. So you could do the whole "this little piggy went to market" thing, or weave your fingers in between your toes, which is always a crowd favorite. But it's good to expand those feet, especially when you've been wrapped up in, I don't know, like 72 pairs of socks trying to not get the snow into you. Friends outside of the Pacific Northwest, we have been pummeled with snow and we don't know what to do with ourselves. Now, you're probably getting a lot of sensation in this hip. Soften with your breath those sensations. Allow your experience to be a little bit more passive and less resistant in this hip. Oh my goodness, somebody's so affectionate today. I know, I'm sorry. One more breath in. Big breath out. And then you're gonna let your right leg go. And you're gonna take your left leg up and you're gonna bring it up like Happy Baby, and you might be holding onto your shin instead of your foot. But you're gonna take the right hand and you're gonna weave your fingers in between your toes or wiggle the toes out. My goodness. Right. You're getting a little bit of foot opening, a lot of hip opening, and probably a lot of breath and intention of softening in these tight spaces. Take a breath in. Find something to soften when you exhale. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out. And then you're gonna release that left foot. Go ahead and take it down. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Reach your arms back behind you. And let the front of your body stretch out really long. Take a huge inhale. Feel your body, your breath fill up. Get longer. Exhale, let it go. Try that 2 more times. Inhale, reach out longer. Exhale, let it go. Once more, big breath, and maybe you can get even longer than you have so far. And exhale, relax. Bring your knees into your chest again. You can always roll over to one side or give yourself a little rock up to a seat. You're gonna lay on one side. I'm gonna kind of come onto this hip and then take the top leg and cross it over. Now your hand, bring it a little bit closer to your hip if you can, and being on fingertips is fine if your wrist is tender. But you want to try to lift both hips up and forward. And then if you want to be very saucy, you can kind of stick the arm right here, or very thoughtful with the arm right here. I'm just gonna stick it wherever. But try to move this torso a little bit more open. Yeah. Looking a little bit more space on the top hip right here. Big inhale. Big exhale. And then you're going to release this leg. Tuck it in. So now I have this seat where I've got my legs crossed over each other. And now this might not feel great on your body. And if it doesn't feel great on your body, I want to instead take this leg out in front of you like so. So that might be a little bit more comfortable. If you can keep the leg crossed in, also good. We're going to hug this thigh. Take this arm back behind. Lift up through your heart. And then revolve that heart over towards the side of your top leg. So if you're mirroring me, this is going to be your right leg that's on top. Feel that place behind your ears lift up. Exhale, soften your belly. Again, like that, big breath in. Exhale, soften your belly. What is up with you today? Go ahead and unwind your legs. You're going to come to the other side. I'm going to switch like so that I don't have to face away from you. We're going to take one leg and cross it over. You're laying on this hip, and then you bring this hand in a little bit closer to your hip so that there's a little work that happens as you roll both hips forward. So I'm trying to open up and come to the outer part rather than hang out back here where not much is happening. Okay. Put your arm out. You make a very pensive mudra. But the most important thing being that you have some breath and kind of observing what's happening here or elsewhere in the body. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then you're going to tuck that bottom leg in or swing it out in front of you, whichever seems like a better idea for you. We're going to twist over towards this top leg. So you take, if you're mirroring me, it's the left arm that comes in right close to your hip. We'll hug onto this thigh, lift up from behind the ears, get a little bit taller. Every exhale softens your belly and allows for a deeper rotation. Big breath in. Big breath out. Sit, please. Thank you. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more round of breath. And then we're going to release that twist. Unwind the legs. And we're going to come on into child's pose here. So your knees might be wider or they might be closer together. Sometimes they feel better a little closer together. You'll either be back with your hips by your heels or your hips might be nowhere near your heels. And you just go to a place that is easy for your body. Allow this to be a rest. Allow this to be a return to your breath. Rest your forehead down and feel your pelvis pull back behind you, wherever your pelvis happens to be. Maybe you're able to wiggle your fingertips out a little bit further in front of you so that there's a little bit more of this lifting of the heart out of the foundation of your hips. One more breath in. Big breath out. And then you're going to start to walk your hands back in, lift yourself up in the table pose. You can come onto fingertips if your wrists are tender. We'll work through a few cat and cow. Inhale, lift the tail, lift your gaze. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, heart moves forward. Exhale, pull that heart up to the ceiling. 2 more on your own. Returning to a more neutral spine. Take your right leg and lift it up in the air. And you can come to your fingertips if that's a little bit better. It gives you a little bit more space in this right leg. I want you to curl your knee up towards your armpit and then take it up and back and curl it into your armpit and take it up and back and curl it into your armpit. And the more time you pause here, the more core work there is. So you take from that what you will. I'm like relatively certain this is the 5th round, but I'm terrible at counting. So if you think so too, go ahead and put your right foot down about where your right hand was, and maybe it ended up here and you just put it there, and we're all good. Put your hands up onto your front thigh. Wiggle these right toes a little bit further forward. If you need to pad up this back knee, please take a moment to do that for yourself as I try to go slow in the beginning of lunges. Push this foot down. Lift your heart up. We're going to reach maybe just your left arm up, so the opposite arm, or both arms. It's up to you. This hand being down is going to help you to balance. Both arms up will be a little bit more intense. Take a big breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to open your arms. You're going to reach your left arm forward. If you're using the right arm to reach back, you do, or you leave it on your thigh like so. We're going to take a little bit of a flow with this. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, open the arms into a twist. Try to go slow. Inhale, reach up. Keep pushing that front foot down. Exhale, twist. Maybe you do it with bent arms as you pull it down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows. That can be a little bit more heart work. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist. If you have bent elbows, go ahead and open them out again. Now your inner thighs, can you lift those up into your pelvis? Things are pretty heated in this area, yeah? One more breath in. One more breath out. And then we're going to take the hands down. Wiggle your foot a little bit wider. And then do a little bit of stirring around in your hip to hopefully loosen up and use any of the space and the heat. Go in both directions. And then you're going to slide the right leg back. And we're going to come back into table pose. I'll show you here. You're going to take that knee up and you want to bring it. See, I come up to my fingertips here. It just gives a little bit more room. You can totally do that. Take the leg up and then curl it all the way around to that armpit. Yeah, inhale, lift it up. Exhale, pull it in. The tighter you pull, the deeper the work gets. I think this is the 5th time. Curl it in there as much as you can, and then set the left foot down and wiggle it to where you need it to be, and then take your hands up onto your front thigh. Because we can always get at least a little bit more room. Do a little wiggle forward, give a little bit more openness in the legs. And then you might just take your right arm up, or you take both hands up. It's up to you. You can always change your mind. Inhale, get your spine a little bit taller. Exhale, reach the right arm forward and pull your left arm back. So I want to rotate at the ribs as much as I can. Go slow. This is a challenge to your balance. Inhale, lift up. Keep pushing that front foot down. Exhale, twist over towards the left. Inhale, reach up. Maybe you bend your elbows. And if you don't like that, if you prefer the arms open, you leave the arms open. Because it's your practice, it's your experience. It's your decision what you want to make out of this time together. Here's the last one. Let's twist open here. And then open the arms if you have them bent. And then kind of feel what's going on in my hips. Am I lifted? Am I sinking anywhere? What changes as I suck these inner thighs up in towards my pelvis? Kind of drawing it all together, piecing it all together. One more exhale, soften the belly. And then we'll take the hands down, bring the knees back, and lower all the way down onto your belly. From here, slide your right arm out to the right side, palm faces down. It's about in line with your shoulder. Left hand stays in, look to the left, roll your left leg back behind you. If you're feeling open in your hips and you're able to kind of play around with bringing the left foot planted down onto the floor, might be able to use some of this hip opening we've been working on. If that feels crazy or wonky in your knee, you need to just rest that leg down or leave them stacked. You've got lots of options. Take a big breath in. Soften your heart, exhale. One more round of breath. Then roll over onto your belly. You're going to slide the right hand in, slide the left hand out. And then you're going to roll your right leg back, maybe placing the sole of the foot down. Maybe not. Could be here. This is really for the shoulder. That's the big movement. So you add other stuff on as it makes sense. As you exhale, soften the front of your heart. Big breath in. Exhale, soften. Big breath in. Exhale, soften. One more round of breath. And roll over onto your belly. Slide your hands in by your lower ribs, maybe wiggle your leg bones a little bit further back behind you, and then reach your heart forward, coming up into cobra pose. Don't worry about how high you get. Can you reach long through your heart? Big breath in. Exhale, lower down. We'll change it up by coming into a bound locust pose or bound shalabhasana. Take your arms back, interlace your fingers, bend your elbows here. Turn your elbows as best you can towards the ceiling. And then as you inhale, straighten the arms back behind you or straight-ish the arms and reach your heart forward. Probably the legs float up. If they don't, maybe you decide to float them up on your own. Take another breath in. Exhale, soften down. This time, make a pillow for your head with your hands. Rest a forehead or a cheek. Wiggle your hips out a bit. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's take the hands back in by the low ribs. We're going to come up cobra pose one more time. This time, do push the tops of your feet and your pelvis down towards the floor. You can think of your thigh bones pressing down towards the floor and send your heart up and forward. Ooh, got a little higher. Strong legs here. Take a big breath in. Soften your throat as you exhale. And then push yourself off of the floor. And we're going to come into puppy dog. So reach the arms out. We can think of this as heart melting, anahatasana. And the heart melting pose is easier to think of really just dropping that heart down towards the floor. Let there be this deep hinge in your hips. Let your tailbone float upwards. Offer this pose as a surrender. Big breath in. Big breath out. And lift your head. We're going to come up in a downward facing dog. Take a moment to spread out your fingers. Practice pushing your heart down into your hands. And then lifting up and back. Give yourself a little wiggle around. Ooh, some open hips today. Maybe bobble your head a little bit. Try to bring your elbows so that they point more towards the floor than the walls. And that's an inexact kind of thing. It's going to vary based on your body, but can you go for more floor than walls? And then take a big breath in. On your exhale, let something go. Do that one more time. Big breath in. Big sigh. You're going to bring the feet to the hands and the hands to the feet. Take your feet a little bit wider than you would normally so that you have maybe just a little bit more room to relax into this fold. And maybe your fold is up here. You're still folded at those hips, relaxing the hips and the lower back. Try to relax your head on your spine. Even if you're like up here, try not to crunch in your neck, yeah? Let the neck be long. We're going to try to stay as loose in the spine as possible as you roll up to standing. So let the weight be on your feet. Keep your knees bent, draw the belly in, but let the spine be loose as you roll all the way upwards. And then adjust your hair or your shorts or whatever's going on. We'll come up to standing. We're going to move into a triangle pose, one of our first shapes here. You're going to try to bring your feet as wide open as you can, and don't worry about how far this hand gets down when we move into the shape. Try to keep your legs really straight. We're going to take a shift in the hips. So I kind of pop them back towards the left, and then this top hip rolls over ever so slightly, and now you might feel already like you have a little bit more length in your spine. So we want to keep all long angles in this triangle pose as you go down just as far as you can, just as far as is reasonable. You're reaching your tailbone out and your ears out, and then this arm comes up. And then what's cool is the shape creates like a lot of triangles, right? You can see them in the body, not pizza wedges, triangles as best we can. Finding expansion across these long lines in the body. If you're able to kind of tune into this, I want you to think of relaxing this right thigh bone back towards the left foot, the left hip. Oh, hamstring. Breathing in. Breathing out. Draw your belly in. We're going to lift up. And then bend into this right leg, finding warrior two. We're going to create as much of a twist as we can here. I will warn you, if you can come up onto your back toes, you're going to be a little bit twistier around the midsection, but it's a little harder to balance this. You can decide exactly what you'd like to do with that. So you're going to lean forward, and then you're going to switch your arms. So you've got your left arm going forward, and then you're going to take the hand down to your thigh or your elbow down to your thigh. And this hand comes to your hip, or it comes palm to palm. And this might be where you adjust to come onto the back foot so you can twist a little bit deeper. And no matter what you're doing with the back foot, no matter where your hands went, so we've got like this, we've got this, we've got this. You're going to take this, take your right hip, you're going to pull it towards the back foot. So now things are getting a little bit more heated in here. You're drawing those inner thighs together. Maybe you can push into that bottom arm and lift your hip up a little bit more. One more exhale. And you start to unwind yourself. Just come on up to standing. Weird angle. Sorry. All right, I'm going to show from this side just because it's strange when I try to face away from you. So we'll start off with triangle pose. We face that way, and then we'll move into that twist. So legs are nice and far apart. Notice my back toes are turned up towards that front leg. Shift your hips back here. So I have this shift, and then this top one tilts over just a little bit. And then with this long spine coming out over this leg, going down just as far as your hamstring would prefer that you would. And the other arm goes up. And you rest this bottom thigh bone towards the back foot. And you reach from the heart out into both hands. The backs of the ears lengthen away from the tailbone. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more round of breath. And draw your belly in. We're going to come back up. Bend into the front knee. And you're going to start to lean forward and then switch your arms. So you have opposite arm reaching forward. So I'm already starting to twist. I'm going to bring this elbow down, hand at the hip. Or, and I could have the hand down, right? But don't let this knee fall in because then the hip goes out more. You want to pull this hip back. So elbow down, maybe palms down, maybe you're onto the back foot. And from there, oh my God, I can twist so much more up on that back foot, but the balance is so hard here. Those twisting lunges are no joke. There's a lot of work going on, but there's a lot of room still for expansion. Keep lifting those inner thighs in. You see, I even had a little bit more space to connect there. Big breath in. Big breath out. Start to unwind. And you take yourself up. And then bring your feet in. We're going to take eagle pose. So be a little bit of balance. The other things, more balance. You might want to go near something if you wanted to hold on to it, or just make sure you don't take your left foot off of the floor. We'll cross at the knees, squeeze those knees together and pull the hips back behind you. Okay. And then the opposite arm comes on top for eagle arms or holding on with a hug, or just leave your elbows and your palms together. If the twisting up is strange or not beneficial, you can press the elbows together and still feel really nice in the back of the heart. Opposite arm if you choose. Now, as you send your hips back, we're going to do a little crouching eagle hidden back bend. So I'm crouching down, and then I'm going to start lifting the chest up and forward. Draw the belly in. This one's real hard because you have all of these opposing energies going on. If you feel good in your balance, try to lift your top toes. Lift the heart right up into that space in between the arms that is so small it almost doesn't exist. One more breath out. Unwind your arms, unwind your legs. Bring your feet down, reach the arms up. And you're gonna lift your hips and your heart up and forward. Just free all of that front body space that was just so congested. Big inhale. Exhale, let it go. Then the other side. Opposite leg crosses on top. You can keep the toes down, or you'll lift the leg up, but you gotta squeeze those thighs together and back. The hips are back. We'll try to keep the spine as long as possible. Wrap the opposite arm on top, palms, hug, or the squeeze, as you know. Then as you squeeze everything together into the center, you're then gonna take the heart out of that connection and reach it forward. So everything is coming together, building together as one piece, and from there, the heart lifts out and forward. Let's squeeze those inner thighs together. You need inner thigh strength for some of the places we're going today. And the places we're going in most of life. Exhale. And then unwind. Take your feet down. Reach your arms up. Feel your hips going slightly forward. The heart goes up. Don't worry about bending back. Lift up and forward. And exhale, let it go. And I come into warrior one. You pick a side that goes forward. I'll go with my left leg to start off with, because I guess I'm facing this way. And you're gonna take your hands, interlace your fingers back behind you. If it is your left foot that's forward, bring your hands over towards the right side of your waist. So it doesn't matter which it is, just bring it to the opposite side as that bent leg. And then you're gonna draw the elbows down and back, and then release your ear over towards your hands. Now, what'll often happen is your whole body will start to shift over to the side. Can you still pull that left hip or whatever your front leg hip is back? Gently lift your head up. Take your hands over to the other side. And then you're going to rest your ear down towards your hands. Notice if you're standing with more weight on either of the feet, can you balance the weight in your feet? Big exhale. Lift your head up. We're going to reach those arms back. Now, if this is too much, if it's getting weird in the shoulders or the hands, just hold on to your hips. But if you can, you're going to reach the arms out and back so that your heart can come forward into humble warrior, where the front thigh is, you guessed it, reaching back to the back foot. And then find a way to relax your head. Even if it doesn't drop down, can you just notice if there's any tension in your neck and then say, no thank you, tension. Life is hard enough without having a tense neck. Big exhale. Release your hands. You're going to start lifting up into warrior one. And then see if you can take one step to bring your feet up towards each other. It's fine if you miss. And then take the other foot back. Warrior one on the other side. Check in real quick to be sure that you aren't standing on a tightrope. You don't want to have the feet in line. You want to have some space. And then take your arms behind you, interlace your fingers. We're going to start with taking the hands away from the side of the front leg. So I'm practicing drawing that thigh back, maybe lifting my inner thighs up. That'll also draw that front thigh back. And then your ear goes over towards the hands on that side. Woo-hoo. One more exhale. Start to lift your head up so you can switch your hands to the other side. And the elbows drop down and then your ear drops over towards your hands. Notice where the resistance is. It's okay to notice when things feel like arrows. And then the work becomes, okay, how do I make that just flowers falling at my feet? When I have the feelings, I can have the feelings, but do I need to panic about them? Do I need to panic about these crazy humble warrior things? I don't know. Lift your head up. Release your hands. They're at your hips. You can reach them back behind you if that really feels better to you. But try for the bind and allow the bind to expand your heart and take it forward on the inside of your thigh. I didn't plan that. I love when the music is all like epic and stuff. So your inner thighs, lift those up. Do you feel that drawing your front thigh back? Maybe? Relax your head. One more exhale. Draw your belly and release your hands. Let's come up to warrior one. Ta-da, familiar space. And then step forward, Tadasana, mountain pose. Give yourself a moment to shake things out. Our last standing shape is going to be dancer's pose. This is where we're going to start working towards more of those heart opening spaces. And I've been working on a lot of hip stuff because something that I'd like you to try to use to support your Natarajasana, your dancer's pose, is to have this inner thigh lift and to have the mobility around the hips, to have a good foundation here. Not because we want to get stuck there, but so that we want to be rooted and able to grow out from that point. So this is what I mean. When I come into dancer's pose, what I often have in my body is kind of like this sinking, sometimes this knee is out, or like the hips go a little bit wonky, and then I try to expand outwards and I fall over. What we're going to do is this. Pick a leg, stand on one. You're going to grab the inside of the foot of the other. Now this is where if you had a strap and you wanted to grab that and move it around your foot, you could do that. When you grab the inside of your foot, because that's going to help you to draw the knee down and lift the inner thigh line. Now you're going to lift both inner thighs, see how much taller you got. And as you push that foot back, keep lifting your inner thighs so you don't torque the knee out, And then you're going to send the heart forward, and it might be here, or it might be hold on to the wall and send the heart forward. Maybe you continue to expand this shape. Good. Oh my gosh. I'm looking to the side, which also makes this very strange. Keep lifting the inner thighs. You see that? Yeah? Maybe smile. Maybe fall over. Maybe keep breathing. And then come on up. Release the foot. Kind of fun? Maybe? But there's that like drawing, and you want this space to be very sturdy and to have a strong foot on the ground. Let's work towards the other side. Try to go directly, geometrically to the side here. So you're gonna grab the inside of your foot. And when that happens, often the knee reaches out. That's okay, that's where we make the adjustment to draw it in. We lift the inner thighs, which also brings the weight up onto the middle of your foot. You have a little bit more control. And then you're gonna push the foot back in your hand, reach the heart forward. Don't let that knee fly out. Keep trying to lift the inner thighs. Send the heart out. Don't worry about bending your back. Can you open and expand the body here? Good. Maybe throw the horns in. Or peace fingers. I don't know. Whatever seems cool to you. Exhale. And come on up. Release your foot down. All right. A little wiggle. We're going to start working our way down. We'll go into a couple more heart openers to continue, but come into a space towards the front of your mat. Bring your feet down. Drop your arms down by your side. Maybe you have a heart attack with a neighbor. And shift a few times front and back. Or Jezebel. Hey. Okay. You shift a few times front and back with your weight. And try to settle into the center. And with you, settle at the center and your arms down by your sides. Can you line up then? Once you find the center of your feet, you line up your hips over it and your heart over it and the backs of your ears over it. Feel the fronts of your hips lifting up, maybe giving you a little bit more of this expansive plumb line feeling. And keeping that as you reach the arms up. Big inhale, get a bit taller. And fold, exhale, soften all of that. Bend your knees as much as you need. Let your head hang. Hold your shins if that's more supportive in your body. I want you to relax your back. Let it be a hinge at the hips. Don't worry about how far you get down. How soft can you get? And then bring your fingertips to your shins. Let's take an inhale. Come halfway up. Feel your hips reaching back, your heart reaching forward. Exhale, soften a bit. Inhale, heart reaches forward, tail reaches back. A little stronger on the spine. Exhale, soften a bit. One more time. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, bend the knees as much as you need to plant the hands down. We're going to step back to downward dog. Yours could be a table pose. Feel free to take that variation for yourself. If you're in down dog, let's feel the lengthening in the backs of the legs and the pressing strong from the heart down into the hands. One more big breath in. Big breath out. And lower the knees down. We're going to come into pigeon pose. You're welcome to come into swan. I would rather you go on your back, I think, than to do swan pose. If you can go into pigeon pose, here it is. The shin is out at an angle, the thigh is out at an angle towards the corner, and my hips are squared. I'm not sitting here, I'm not sitting over here, I'm here in the center. And maybe you are like here and nowhere near down there, and that's good. You're wherever you are, finding that balance in the pelvis, maybe drawing the inner thighs towards each other. And let's send the heart up and out. Yeah. Try to make sure your toes face behind you. If you need to be on your back in this reclined pigeon, you can go there. That's all good. Please make that adjustment for yourself. If you're upwards, can you rest the front hip back and then let the heart reach out a little bit more? Big breath in. Big breath out. I'm gonna pick the hips up, slide that right leg back. We're gonna come into puppy dog, finding that heart melting down shape, tailbone up, arms out, rest your head down. One more breath. And start to walk the hands back in, coming into pigeon on the other side. Let the knee out, the foot is in front of your hip. Notice it's not underneath me. My knee doesn't face forward, it faces out. Got that rotation. Maybe you wiggle this leg back. We're gonna come up onto fingertips here. So we're really rolling into that balanced pelvic space. Front thigh goes back, inner thighs draw gently inwards, and then the heart lifts up and out. One more round of breath. Start to pull your hips up. Draw both knees in. Back to puppy dog. This time, can you be on fingertips? It'll be a little bit more intense in your armpits and your shoulders there. So if that's too much for you, please just come back onto hands or maybe even bend your arms. One more exhale. And draw your hands back in. And bring your right foot outside of your right hand. Maybe you take this like big snazzy journey over there, or you just grab it and put it there. It's fine, it doesn't matter. You're gonna turn the knee and the toe out now. Take your left hand further forward, and you want your hips to come forward towards that place in between your foot and your hands. You can take the right hand under the thigh. You'll have a little bit more control and connection here. But push down in the bottom hand so that your heart lifts up. Maybe your heart extends out through your right fingertips and my hips are resting forward. My ears are lifting out of my shoulder. If you wanted to grab the back foot, you could grab the back foot. You're not missing anything if your knee or your foot doesn't want that to happen. Big breath in. Big breath out. Now you're going to reach your arm up and over. You got to adjust your foot. I'm going to reach your hand that way and your hip back that way. Oh my gosh. And take your hand down and bring your foot. That was something, right? Of like extra space here from that last little bit. And you're gonna take your left foot up. Maybe you take this big loop up and around, or you just grab it and put it there. That's good. Turn your knee and your toe out. Once you have that rotation, you're able to bring the hips further forward. That's a lot of what pigeon did for us. The right hand goes more forward. The left hand might come to the thigh. You're pushing from the heart down into the right hand so that it lifts you up and open into your twist. Maybe the left arm goes up and back. Try not to have it back here, yeah? You want the heart reaching into both hands. Exhale, soften those hips forward. Inhale, open from the heart into the hands. Find something to soften as you exhale. One more round of breath. And then you're going to turn your left knee and toe to face forward. Reach your left arm up and over, and you're going to pull your left thigh bone away from that left hand. This is like my new favorite thing. Big breath in. Big breath out. And soften down. Walk it back. Take that left knee back. We're going to come down to a seat. We've done a couple of things on the knees. Give yourself a quick massage onto your kneecaps. No pressure. I just take the hands and I wiggle the skin around on the knees. It can be very soothing to that space. Hi. And then the feet come in. If you're able to grab onto your ankles, your shins, your feet, maybe peace fingers around your toes. We're going to feel the heart lift up. And not just the front of the heart into a crazy back bend. Can you lift the back of the heart as well? So we're still working with soft open hips, but also a long spine. Not folding inwards. Avoid folding in. Try to lift upwards. Maybe you feel the backs of your ears extending upwards. Fabulous. Okay. Big breath in. Big breath out. And release your work. We're going to come down onto our bellies. We're going to work into Dhanurasana or bow pose. And we're also going to do the wiggling around that I like to do because it feels like sledding, because I'd much rather sled on my yoga mat than out there. So that's going to be our big heart opening shape today. If you find you have any difficulty grabbing both of your feet behind you, like we did in dancer's pose with just the one, grab your strap. And how you get into that is like this. I like to just kind of take it around my ankles and I roll over, and then you're here. Okay, so this is going to be where you're at if holding onto the feet doesn't feel good in your knees or your ankles or your arms or whatever have you. You'll just use that as your modification. Okay, I screwed up my mat. Need to make sure I'm far enough away from the wall because this is going to be fun. I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. Come down on your belly. Okay. Now, we just worked on re-lengthening the spine in that seated space, right? I want you to think not of this pose as a fold over back behind you back bend. Let it be like in dancer's pose, where it was expansive in all directions. We work a lot in that kind of energy so that there's a little bit more room in the body, a little bit more strength, power, and hopefully a lot less ow. Yeah. Okay, bend your knees. If you haven't already done the strap situation, you might want to do that now. You're going to grab on to the tops of your feet. If you can grab the ankles, you'll get a little bit more heart open that space. So you kind of can decide if you want to shift a little bit. Maybe you're here for a while, and then the ankles on the last one. Because the first thing we're going to do is you're going to roll over to one side. I know. Okay. And now it's going to be mostly the top side, but see if you can do the bottom side too. You're going to push your foot into your hand. Can you also feel your inner thighs draw a little bit in? So not as much as we have before, but you don't want to have like the super open space, right? And then you feel as you push your foot into your hand and then reach your heart open, big heart opening shape. Okay? Now here's the really fun part. You're going to roll all the way over to the other side, and I fully encourage a lot of sound effects. I don't think I've ever done it without a sound effect. So once you get here, now you have that top side that you're reaching out and a little bit of inner thigh. So I don't want you here because that's not going to let you back bend very much. But you want to have them in line, not like wonky, yeah? One more inhale, feel yourself expand. And then exhale onto your belly. Now we have two more. I know. So if you are in there too long and you need to come out of it, you do that because it's your practice. And that is how you find peace and you find ease with your body, is by just honoring where it needs to be. So let's go up the same function we just did. You're going to kick the foot into the hands. Let the heart reach forward. Okay? So I'm not trying to fold myself up here. I'm trying to reach the heart forward. Yeah. Good. One more breath in. Exhale. Soften down. Now this last time. This is going to sound strange. If it doesn't work for you, don't worry about it. Just leave it aside. I want you to lift your thigh bones up into the back of your hips, which might feel a lot like you're lifting your butt up into the air, because you kind of are. What we're going to do is we're going to move from the thigh bones being in the back of the hips to come into bow pose by pressing the thigh bones down to the front of the hips. So that's like this. I go thigh bones down, heart up, legs up, ta-da! And you can maybe try that twice coming into it. Yeah, so you did it once and now you're like, okay, thigh bones back of the hips, front of the hips, heart up. Oh my gosh. Woohoo. This is, heart so open and free. Many feels. Big breath in. And Soften, release down. Let go of your poor legs. Make a pillow for your head with your hands, rest a cheek or a forehead, and wiggle your heels back and forth, side to side. My goodness. I didn't even, I knew what this was going to do, but I didn't know it was going to feel that good. I hope you felt good. Or at least you're glad to not be doing it anymore. We can find other ways to feel good. Honestly, bow pose is not a popular shape, so if you are not a fan, you're not alone, and we just work with the discomfort that we find ourselves in, right? Try to turn it into flowers. Add and slide your legs back, let yourself be soft. Maybe you're still giving a little bit of a wiggle around in your pelvis. And you're gonna roll over onto one side. It doesn't matter which side it is. I would like you to try to create a long line in your body. So you want to not be in like a Pilates sort of pike here. Try to create a long line. You're going to take your bottom arm, you're going to wiggle it out as much as you can, and then rest your head down. And you're going to take your top. You're going to bring your palms, press the palms together, out and away from your head. Oh my goodness. A little bit more space into that back and the sides of the back. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. And then roll over to the other side. I'm going to do the other way because, if you feel like you're about to fall over, you're not alone, and also you're already on the floor. So if you do, no big, right? You're going to take your bottom arm, wiggle it out. Your toes are long. Try not to pike in your hips. Try to be open. And you can try and not succeed. That's okay too. It's alright to F up a whole bunch. To practice. Press into your hands, reach toes out, palms out. Try to keep breathing. I'm trying not to press on my headphones. So my head's weird. Big breath in, push those palms together. And fall over. Exhale, let it go. Come onto your back. Oh, goodness. Bring your knees into your chest. It might take a little time to relax that low back, giving it a little massage. Cross one ankle. Reach around to hold on to whatever part of your body makes sense, your ankles or your knees or your dog. Oh, my goodness. Hi. Sit here. Okay, and then you're going to switch to the other side. You can hold on. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Nope, sit. Okay. Yoga. Maybe wiggle a little bit. Okay. And then uncross your legs, open your arms to a T, take those knees over to one side. And then this opposite shoulder, we need to push down in your hand to open that opposite shoulder. And then let your belly get softer every time you breathe out. Relaxing this top hip. Good. Some heart opening. We did some deep work in that back, so really letting that back space relax. Two more breaths as I hiccup. You start to work your way over towards the other side, so you'll roll the knees over. And then this opposite shoulder that might be floating upwards, that's fine, but can you press into the other hand, the back of the other arm, to open that shoulder? Keep softening as you breathe out. Two more breaths. Back to center, draw your knees in, give a little wiggle around. Eventually letting your knees come down, maybe they knock against each other and you take Shavasana with feet on the floor. As always, if you ever need any extra shapes, if you'd rather take your seated meditation or sit up in a chair or whatever, you can do that. Maybe come into corpse pose. Maybe snuggle your cat or your dog or something. Or just let your body settle into this space. Letting yourself simply be here. Practicing not resisting. And for many of us, Shavasana comes with a lot of resistance. There's like a part of us that doesn't want to just let go. So when that comes up, you say, oh yes, I see you, it's okay, but we can do this. Take a breath, let it go, and release into this rest again. Start to come back to your body. Back into your breath and maybe making some small movements that help you to wake up. Eventually rolling over to one side, pausing to turn inwards, this moment of reflection. And we take Shavasana and corpse pose, and it's symbolic of this this release, you know, like death and change, all symbolically offering us this opportunity to create something new. Not to cling with discomfort to what was, but to say, okay, where do we go from here? And so we then move into this heel pose, which is this offering of new beginnings, and we're grateful for where we came from, and then we know we can move on to something else. So we'll begin to move on into the rest of our day. Come on up to your own comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your heart. And we seal our practice, releasing an Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to the love inside of our hearts and the light and the darkness within each of us. Namaste. Thank you for being here, friends. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. We're going to start in March a 5:30 class. It's going to be a little bit more continuous movement, so it'll be a little, in some ways, more intense, but also long holds can be really intense. So like a different kind of thing. I put a video up on the page if you want to check it out. I think I tried to answer some questions, so we'll see what's up with that. Thank you all for being here. Thanks, Franklin. Thanks, Daphne. Thanks, Ricky. Yeah, I appreciate all of your support and presence and stuff. Happy Valentine's.
April.
Thanks, Rob. Awesome, Steve. Thank you. Take care. Thanks, Victoria and Marco. Hi, Kelly. Have great days, everybody.